All right, so you want to be a hotel porter, huh? Someone who really sets the tone for a guest stay.
Definitely. You're the first impression, the helping hand with luggage, and the go-to for any questions.
And we're diving deep into what it takes to land that job.
Exactly. We've got career guides, sample interview questions, even some AI tricks from RoleCatcher to help you stand out.
Love it. But before we even get to the interview, let's paint a picture of the job itself. What does a typical day actually look like for a hotel porter based on this career guide?
Well, imagine this. You're the first friendly face a guest sees as they arrive. Maybe a little weary from traveling.
Makes sense, especially after a long flight.
You got it. So you're there to whisk away their bags, offer them a refreshing drink, and give them a quick tour of the hotel.
So it's not just about the luggage.
Not at all. You're answering questions, handling requests, even doing a bit of light cleaning if needed. It's fast-paced and demanding, but never a dull moment.
Sounds like you need to be a master multitasker.
Absolutely. And speaking of demanding, let's tackle some common interview questions. This interview guide starts strong, asking about your previous experience working in a hotel. What if you're just starting out?
That's a good point. Not everyone has years of experience on their resume.
Exactly. But that's where those transferable skills come in.
So like, even if you haven't been a hotel porter before,
You can still highlight relevant experience. Did you work retail, maybe as a cashier?
dealing with customers all day, for sure.
Exactly. Or maybe you waited tables, bus dishes, anything where you had to handle multiple things at once.
Those are valuable skills.
Absolutely. And guess what? RoleCatcher can actually help you connect those dots on your resume.
Oh, right. Their AI analyzes your experience and highlights what's most relevant to the specific job you're going for.
It's a game changer. It even suggests ways to rephrase those bullet points to make them pack a punch.
Wow, that's seriously helpful. So even without direct experience, you can still create a strong narrative.
Exactly. Think about times you went above and beyond, solved a problem, or stayed cool under pressure. Those are the stories that'll make you memorable.
Great advice. And speaking of staying cool under pressure, question number 2 in this guide throws a curveball.
Oh.
Let's hear it.
How do you prioritize your tasks when faced with multiple requests from guests? Just reading that makes me feel a little stressed.
I hear you. But remember, they're not expecting you to be superhuman. They want to see how you think on your feet.
So how should you approach that question?
Give a concrete example. You could say, if 2 guests needed my help at the same time, I'd first figure out which one was more urgent.
Like if someone needed medical attention versus someone who couldn't find the ice machine.
Exactly.
Right.
Show them you can assess the situation and prioritize accordingly. Then, talk about your system for staying organized.
Like a mental checklist.
Sure. Or maybe you jot down notes. Use a to-do list app, whatever works for you. Just demonstrate that you have a method for managing multiple tasks. Makes sense. And I bet this is where practicing with RoleCatcher could be really valuable.
Absolutely. You can actually record yourself answering these questions, and their AI will analyze your tone, even your facial expressions.
Wait, really? It can read your facial expressions.
You bet. It's like having a personal coach giving you feedback on your delivery, because sometimes we might think we sound confident, but our body language is saying something else.
Wow, I can definitely see how that would be helpful. All right, let's move on to question number 3. This one feels inevitable in any customer service role.
Oh boy, I think I know where this is going.
How do you handle a difficult guest? Those challenging interactions are bound to happen, right?
They happen everywhere.
So what's the key in navigating those situations gracefully while still representing the hotel well?
Well, first and foremost, you have to stay calm and composed, even if you're dealing with someone who's being completely unreasonable.
Easier said than done sometimes.
Definitely true. But that's what they're looking for, someone who can keep their cool under pressure.
So how do you actually do that?
Start by showing empathy. Acknowledge their frustration, even if you think it's unwarranted.
Like, I understand that traveling can be stressful, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Let them know you hear them and you're taking their concerns seriously. Then you can loop in the solution part.
Offer to fix the problem, if possible.
Exactly. But also be realistic. You're there to help, but you also have to work within the hotel's policies and procedures.
Right, you can't promise them the world.
Exactly. You might say something like, I'm happy to see what I'm undue. While I always aim to accommodate our guests, I also need to adhere to hotel policy.
That strikes a good balance between being helpful and setting realistic expectations.
Precisely. It shows you understand the importance of both guest satisfaction and following the rules.
And I'm curious, In these tricky situations, does RoleCatcher's AI offer any specific advice?
Oh, for sure. You can input the name of the hotel you're applying for, and RoleCatcher will tailor its feedback accordingly.
Wait, seriously, how does it do that?
It pulls publicly available information and reviews, so it might suggest phrases like, "At hotel name we pride ourselves on."
Wow, so it's like aligning your answers with their brand and values.
Exactly. It's about going that extra mile to show you've done your research and you're invested in their specific environment.
That's incredibly impressive.
Right. It's like having a secret weapon in your back pocket.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting into some seriously good stuff here, and I'm excited to dive into even more of these interview insights.
Me too.
But we'll have to save that for part 2 of our Hotel Porter Deep Dive.
You ready to jump back into those interview questions?
Oh, absolutely. We left off on a bit of a cliffhanger, talking about handling difficult guests. What's next on the list?
All right, let's see. Question number 4. This one might seem simple, but it's important. How do you maintain a clean and unorganized work environment?
Seems pretty straightforward. What's the catch?
It's about more than just saying, "I'm a tidy person." You gotta remember, as a hotel porter, you're often the face of the hotel, especially in high traffic areas.
Like the lobby, near the luggage carts, those areas.
You got it. So it's about maintaining the hotel's image, making sure everything looks sharp and professional.
So how do you convey that during an interview?
Paint a picture. Instead of just stating a fact, give them a specific example. You could say something like, "I always make it a point to straighten up the magazine rack, organize the luggage carts, and do a quick sweep for any trash or spills."
Ah, so it's about showcasing your attention to detail.
Exactly. It shows them you're proactive and take pride in your work, even those little things.
Makes sense. Those little things add up to a big impression. Okay, question number 5, every traveler's nightmare. How do you handle a situation where a guest has lost their luggage or belongings? Oh man, just thinking about that makes me anxious.
It's definitely stressful, but this is where you get to be the calming presence, the problem solver.
How do you even begin to tackle that?
Empathy is key. Acknowledge their frustration, something like, "I understand this is incredibly frustrating. Let's see what we can do to locate your things." Then you lay out a plan of action.
Like, what steps would you actually take?
First, check with the bellhop, then contact the airline if their bags were mishandled during the flight. Of course, you'd file a report with the hotel's lost and found as well. The key is to reassure them you're on top of it.
Right, because in that moment, they just want to know someone is taking care of it.
Absolutely. And this is another area where RoleCatcher can be super helpful. You can practice your response, and their AI will analyze your tone of voice.
Oh, to make sure you sound reassuring and not, like, panicked yourself.
Exactly, because even with the best intentions, our nerves can sometimes come across in our voice.
That's true. All right, what's next on our interview question highlight reel?
All right, question number 6. How do you handle a situation where a guest has made a specific request that is outside of hotel policy?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. It's like you have to find that balance between keeping the guest happy and upholding the rules.
It's a delicate dance for sure. First, always acknowledge their request. Try to understand why they're asking, what their underlying need is.
So, for example, maybe they're asking for a late checkout, but the hotel's fully booked.
Exactly. In that case, you'd want to offer a reasonable alternative. You could say, "While we can't extend your checkout due to high occupancy, we'd be happy to store your luggage and let you relax in our lounge area until you need to leave for the airport."
So it's about getting creative and finding that win-win solution.
Precisely. And you know what? RoleCatcher might even be able to suggest specific amenities or services the hotel is known for.
Oh, right. Based on their online presence and all that.
Yep. So you can personalize your response even further, which is always impressive.
That's amazing. It's like having a cheat sheet for each hotel. All right, question number 7. This one feels big.
Lay it on me.
How do you ensure the safety and security of guests and their belongings? That's a huge responsibility.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond just saying, "I'd be careful." You want to demonstrate that you understand the seriousness of it.
Okay, so what are some concrete things you can mention?
First, talk about your familiarity with safety protocols. Does the hotel have specific procedures for handling suspicious activity? What about emergency exits, fire alarms, that kind of thing? Showing that you're already thinking about those things is important.
It shows you're proactive, not just reactive.
You got it. You can also mention practical steps you'd take, like being vigilant about unattended bags, reporting any suspicious behavior you witness, and making sure all luggage is stored securely.
It's about being observant and taking action when necessary.
Precisely. And if you happen to have any experience with first aid or CPR, this would be a great time to mention it. It shows you're prepared for anything.
That's a good tip. Does RoleCatcher offer any insights on safety measures?
It sure does. It can actually suggest additional safety measures based on the specific hotel or city you're applying for.
Wait, how does it even get that information?
It's constantly analyzing news articles, local events, things like that, to give you the most up-to-date and relevant advice.
That's wild. It's like having a research team working behind the scenes.
Exactly. And that's what makes it such a powerful tool for job seekers. It gives you that extra edge in a competitive job market.
All right, ready to wrap up our hotel porter deep dive. We've covered a ton of ground here.
Yeah, from those everyday tasks to some pretty tricky interview questions.
We really have. But before we sign off, I'm curious, what comes after you nail that interview? What does the career path look like for a hotel porter?
Oh, that's the exciting part. This isn't just a job, it's a stepping stone into the whole world of hospitality.
The career guide mentioned some interesting possibilities.
It did. Think about it. You start as a porter, you're reliable, you're great with guests, a real team player. Pretty soon, you might find yourself on track to become a lead porter.
So there's room for growth within the department.
Absolutely. Or even a bill captain, managing other porters, overseeing the whole operation.
So you could really develop your leadership skills.
Exactly. And if you're eager to explore other areas, there are tons of possibilities.
Oh, like what?
Well, guest services is a natural transition. You're already a pro at handling requests and resolving issues, right?
Right.
Or how about concierge? You could be the go-to expert on local restaurants, attractions, the works.
From luggage to luxury dining recommendations.
Exactly. And let's not forget about front desk management. You're the first point of contact, handling check-ins, answering questions, maybe even dealing with a guest relations issue or two. All those skills you honed as a porter would translate beautifully.
So what you're saying is, this role can open doors to a whole range of careers.
Absolutely. And this is where RoleCatcher comes in handy again. They have this cool tool, the Career Compass, that helps you map out these potential paths. You can explore different roles, see what skills are needed, even find relevant job postings.
It's like having a personalized career advisor right in your pocket.
Exactly. And don't forget, it's constantly updating its database, so you're always in the loop about salary expectations, industry trends, all that good stuff.
Okay, before we wrap up completely, any final words of wisdom for our listeners who are gearing up for those hotel porter interviews?
Remember, it's not just about reciting answers you memorized. Let your personality shine through.
Be yourself, right?
Exactly. Share some anecdotes, be enthusiastic, and let them see how much you love the hospitality industry. Because at the end of the day, it's all about connecting with people.
That's such great advice. And listeners, remember all the incredible tools and resources RoleCatcher has to offer, from that AI-powered resume analysis to personalized interview practice. They've truly got everything you need to put your best foot forward. Good luck out there.
Good luck.
And here's to a rewarding and successful career in the exciting world of hospitality.